You gotta do what Randall Pink Floyd wants to do, man. And let me tell you this, the older you do get, the more rules are gonna try to get you to follow. You just gotta keep living, man. Livin.
Man, if you're gonna sign that paper, man, you should throw a little grass right in the middle, man. Roll it up, sign the joint, man. That's gonna tell them something.
That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
Assholes.
Yeah, so what? They're all a bunch of assholes, but you gotta think about it. We've had a lot of really good times right here, Pink.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Pink. I can't believe this. You act like you're so oppressed. Then you guys are kings of the skull. You get away with whatever you want. What are you bitching about?
Well, look, I mean, all I'm saying is that if I ever start referring to these as the best years of my life, remind me to kill myself.
Yay!
Explosions!
Woo! Guys, welcome back to a new episode of The Blunt Truth Presents Seeing Stoned. That's right, we're back again with a wonderful new film to talk about this time. And it's one of the better ones in my personal opinion. This is my personal favorite. But guys, we're back talking about Dazed and Confused.
Pretty good. How's it going with you?
Say, man, you got a joint?
No, not on me, man.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Yeah,
So
man.
you will love it.
All right.
All
And
right.
not only is this just a fun episode, we have a great guest with us who I'm going to introduce first. Besides myself, I'm Scotty P, as you know from the Geek Fathers and the Geeks Under the Influence Network, GUIPodcast.com. Check out all the great pulp culture talk and parenting, fun, just good times there. But here we're having even more fun times with, from the Dallas, Texas area, Mr. Michael Gardner, which I'm looking over here. Yeah, we have him on the computer.
We have
So
him on
bear with
Zoom.
us on the Zoom.
Zooming in, man.
Welcome, Michael. Oh, yeah. How are you, sir?
Thank you. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm awesome. We're just chilling on a Sunday and appreciating the fine weather we're having down here.
Oh,
Good
yeah,
deal.
man. Yeah, man. Excellent.
And you may know Michael specifically from the YouTube series that's on the series that is on YouTube, if I can talk correctly this episode, as the part of the DTF with Maggie and MJ that
Yes.
Becky has already released. Michael was a great part of that project as well.
Hey, where's your roommate at? Your partner in crime? Your sister? Where's she at?
No, she's kind of locked out. I can't trust her when a male client's present. I mean, she tried to fuck you, and you brought Jeremy, so it's bound to go down.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Have we met before?
For that. And just to, well, Becky Gaskill, of course, as our host, our leader in this great project of this limited series that we're
Mighty
doing.
leader.
Mighty leader.
Yes, and the only reason why he's on this show is because he sleeps with her is Casey Martin.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
You're killing me, my reputation.
Yeah. Well, as you will soon learn, Michael, that we have fun talks, but we, just like as we say on Geeks Under the Influence, we go off the rails. So,
Oh, yeah.
But it's fun. So welcome to this crazy show.
Thanks for having me so much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Loving it. And as I mentioned, we are talking Dazed and Confused on this episode, guys. So I'm just going to say straight up, not only is it one of my all-time favorites, but this is a stoner movie. The great argument of all of our episodes, is it a stoner movie or just a movie about a stoner or stoners?
Right.
Stoner movie.
Stoner movie. I think also I'm going to throw my hat in that ring as well. I'm going to say stoner movie as well. It's sort of like, to me, it's like the anti-authoritarianism part of this story, where it's like, I'm not going to sign your fucking piece of paper to be on, to be on the football team. I'm going to play on my own terms. Like, that's, to me, that's the story. And it's like, he's like, if that means I'm smoking weed, that means I'm smoking weed. Like it's
Right.
it follows that whole like that's what happens when people start smoking weed a lot. It's like they end up being a little bit more
It really is. It really does. And it's the thing about Dazed and Confused. It's not it's not a film that just shows like one scene or one or two scenes of people smoking or somebody. It's basically about the times, and during those times, you know, that's how it was. I mean, everybody smoked, you know, and it was just it was more less than a party drug than more of a just a social thing. You know, it's what everybody did, especially up north. I've noticed the difference between living in the South and living up north. It's a lot different. Strange.
Yeah. So would you say it's come almost full circle then? Because it is just more of it's not just about getting the high. It's more of the social interaction and damn the man in a way still, of course.
Yeah.
Getting together to listen to records about damning the man, I think. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, dude, I got this fucking awesome record. Let's listen to listen to this awesome record and like
just get blazed.
And get blazed,
right?
man.
Yeah.
So Michael, on your answer, at least to start the episode, we of course circle back after we talk more on the movie
because we can always, influence each other's decision on this.
Very much so.
Throughout it's happened where like minds have been changed. Whether it's like your initial thing is like, oh, but you made a really good point. This could be a stoner film.
Yeah.
You know.
So would you say stoner movie or just a movie about stoners at this point?
I'd say it's a movie about stoners, really, because it's not really a stoner movie. It's not known, anyways, as a stoner to a lot of people. I mean, the name Confused is, if you're a stoner, Dazed and Confused sounds great, but just a regular population, Dazed and Confused, just, people go think it's just a stoner movie, but it's really not. It's about 1979. It's about the times going on. I mean, in 1979, I was in 6th grade. So I was just starting to get, into the girl thing and the party thing. And that was a really influential time for me. And I had 2 older brothers. So my next oldest brother was a freshman in high school. And my oldest brother, Ed, was a senior in high school in 79. So, and
so were they doing those tropes to each other, basically? Were they like torture, like, your eldest brother was torturing the middle brother because he was a freshman and,
very much.
Hazing rituals.
So. Wow. Okay.
Very much so. I grew up at that time. I was living in Massachusetts, and that's when I noticed the difference between the party scene in Texas and the party scene in Massachusetts was different. They party hard in Massachusetts.
Hard. Yeah. It's cold up there, bro. You gotta party hard.
Exactly. Get numb to it all.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I'm from originally, and the party scene in Massachusetts, it's a different thing. I mean, here in Texas, it's not illegal, so obviously there isn't any party scene that we can legally. Massachusetts is great. It's just, in fact, I'm going back there to visit very soon.
Awesome.
Nice.
Awesome.
Good deal.
And I might be able to swing by your place.
You should. I would love to see you.
Come visit.
Heck yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And now, from our fearless leader, what is your initial thoughts?
I'm totally with Michael in that this is a movie about the times. It's not necessarily, it's totally like a high school movie about, kids at that time. Yes, they were smoking. Yes, that was what they did. And it's, yes, they're smoking and they're drinking, they're just partying. It's a high school film, but in 1979, 1976.
Right.
That's what it's about. It's not necessarily, it's about weed. It's not Pineapple Express. It's not the other.
So did you guys talk ahead of time? Because technically he works for you on your project. So that's what
yeah, we were like, no, we got to do it this way, Michael. Come on.
Staying connected on that,
divided. That's all right.
Let's be honest. Neither Becky or I are that skilled in advance, to be able to do something like that. In fact, that's what I like about Becky. We have a lot in common, but I really don't. I don't know her very well, but I know her good enough.
Yeah.
You guys have worked together enough with just your project, and I mean, I know you have some other works going on as well currently, which we definitely want to hear about before we finish the episode, for sure. But Michael, you seem pretty familiar with the movie. You want to give us a breakdown on a little bit more on the plot and what's happening for maybe if someone hasn't, like a quick scenario on what's happening with the movie if you haven't seen it.
Well, I would be a bad person to do that. But the part I like about the movie is it's a movie about the times. It's a movie about the people that were in high school in the late 1970s. It's about that culture, and it's about the guy with the pressure to become the quarterback. Because my brother was the quarterback of the high school football team in 1979. So this is very it's a lot about my life, really, and there was a lot of pressure on my brother. My brother was just, God rest his soul, R.I.P. He died a few years ago, but my brother did something that was completely unknown. But what this movie was about for one character was that he wanted to be the quarterback, but he wanted to be a pot smoker too, and the two didn't mix back then.
Right.
The evil weed. It's ridiculous.
It's the reefer madness.
Right.
How many breakdowns can you do? Like in football, breakdowns can you do like
while you're baked?
While you're baked, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you give up.
I really respected them in those times because my brother, he was a straight A student through 12 years of school, and he was the varsity quarterback, but he smoked pot. And most people were like, what?
Right.
You usually don't associate all those things together. If you're a pot smoker, then you're just a dirtbag, and you don't do anything. You don't play sports. That's not necessarily true back in 1979.
Right.
That's the way it is now. Unfortunately, for some kids, it's like that. But it's good to see that the nation is changing and rolling forward.
So true.
Very much so.
Now, did he know Matthew McConaughey?
Well, all right.
I guarantee you, he knew somebody like Matthew McConaughey.
I bet.
I think we've all. What was his name in the movie? Still Watterson. I knew it was water in there somewhere, but I think we've all had a Watterson in our life that was just like, borderline perverted, but just that dude that was just like. I
like to explain his character is cock forward. Like it's just like and it's like I saw some interview with Matthew McConaughey, and he was like that's where I got his walk, and I was like and then he kind of just looked around and he was like, he doesn't walk like with his face leading, he doesn't walk like with his shoulders leading. He walks with his dick leading, like his dick, like is just a little forward. And watch him walk in the movie, and it's like it's really like the top of his body's leaned a little
sort
back.
of like out there.
He's like leaned a little bit back, and he's walking into the room, owning it with his dick. With his dick, that's what he's doing. Like
as well, he should.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the perfect personification. Like that character in this movie, like the written script, there was like nothing there. Mm-hmm. Like it was like this tiny little bit part, like nothing, and then like the story got wrapped around him. Like I don't think he was really in that last scene where they're at the football field, and like he gives the inspirational
he was so good
speech, but they just brought him in because he was just killing it. You know what I mean? Like they brought him in on the rewrites and like and like all this stuff, and they're like, what would he say? And he said something truly from the heart because his father had just passed away, and he went away to go to his father's.
His father was a football player.
His father was a football player.
Yeah.
And his mom goes, your dad would have wanted you to go back and finish this movie. So he went back and finished it. And the whole ending of it,
Do you think that football pass thing was like sentimental to him, where like they've run into football and he runs after
throws
it?
the keys? Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
Probably.
Aww.
Marijuana on one, reefer on two.
Now with Michael too, I mean, you've already outed yourself as the oldest. So you're officially the old man on the episode. Usually it's Casey and I, since we're about the same age. So thank you for that.
I don't mind being the oldest and the wisest. It's
okay. So, in your like, based on what they've done in the movie for that time era, do you think it was, from what you've said, I would say it's properly represented?
It really was properly represented because, I mean, there's the whole thing about, the freshmen, they're hunted down by the seniors, and Raz, and that's not something you've ever really seen that much in movies. It's not really represented that I know of. I haven't seen a lot of movies, but
right,
the whole razzing of the freshmen, the freshmen trying to get home, on that last day of school, but it's just that just brings back the memories. Yeah, really, because my brother was a senior when I was in 6th grade, and so my next oldest brother Tom was a freshman, and so when he was a senior, I was a freshman. And so it was kind of cool having a senior brother because I didn't get picked on quite as much, and that's really kind of how it was. If you had a brother that was a senior, that was cool. If you didn't, or if you didn't have a brother at school or didn't really know anybody, then you were. Your freshman year, anything is liable to happen to you.
Right. Well, see, I was in the same boat, but it was the 90s. So all the hazing, I would say any of the hate, or at least public hazing, was out by the early 80s or so, most likely.
Right.
Give or take the town, we'll say.
Yeah,
but I was
feel
in
like
the
it
same
started
boat.
to be like a news story eventually, and people were like, "Oh, stop! Stop with all this stuff."
We shouldn't be bullying.
Exactly.
Do it behind the doors.
and milder and milder.
Yeah, but I was in the same boat when I was a freshman. That's when my brother was a senior, when we were in high school. So, but some of the same aspects are still there. I didn't have to go in completely clean. I knew his friends, and they were like, "Oh, the little brother tag along for some stuff and everything." So it wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been in my experience, anyways. So
like in Dazed and Confused, like that it happens sort of in reverse of that. Like when they try to defend, I've got their names in front of me, and I still can't remember what they are. But like,
I just like seeing you stumble.
But when Dude Man's older sister was like, "Hey, lay off of him this year, guys. Don't go," and it like that put a bullseye on his back,
right,
and made him get worn out.
Oh yeah,
more
easily a double-edged sword.
Yeah,
for any of that. So very much so. But and a great question that I thought was going, because we're talking more about the weed and everything, a great general question and things that were talked about in this movie that we should still talk about because history is very important. Did George Washington grow weed?
I've heard that he did. I mean, back then weed, it wasn't grown for the same reasons.
Right.
Industrial hemp, man.
Exactly.
They wrote the Declaration of Independence on hemp paper.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It is the cheapest thing. It's way cheaper than trees. Like all paper products
and
can
grows
be
quicker.
replaced by them and grows quicker, uses less resources, less water. Like, we've shunned this plant for long enough. Like
right.
But were they all aliens, man?
No, they were all aliens. They just knew the aliens, man. They weren't aliens. They just knew the aliens, man. Man. So, I don't even know how to continue from the aliens at this point.
My
Holy
brain goes
shit.
to like thinking about Martha Washington tying up like big fucking bundles of weed and shit and playing the good, housewife or whatever.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Mike?
Martha and George are smogging down at night.
just hitting that big old wooden bowl of just like
corn cob.
3 foot graphics.
Yeah.
Wood.
Yeah, right?
Nice. Yes. I can totally see that. So
why wasn't that ever painted? Like everything else was painted.
It
You
should
get
have
the
been.
picture of Martha and George
George
smoking a
Washington, like with a 3.5 foot bong, and Martha's like lighting it on the bottom, and George is like,
Yeah.
very much so. And
"Call
now,
an artist ASAP. Commission me a painting."
This needs to be in history forever.
That's the next painting that's going to be right up there.
You want that
somebody to fucking do
I'm sure it's somewhere.
And the way we've talked about, because obviously we're making great references to the characters. Again, we may spoil the movie, but we're not. You got to go watch it just to understand this conversation between Slater and some of the others. Now, because I always get confused. This movie had Jason London, but for your series project, you had Jeremy.
I had Jeremy, yes.
You had the other brother.
I had the other brother. Jason London was in stuff like Man in the Moon.
Like I could still tell the difference. I mean,
you really can't. The only way, like, if you put them like next to, huh?
Yeah, I said, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
When Becky was in town and we were shooting that series, I didn't know that Jason had a twin. I mean, I don't follow along as well as possible. And so I literally found out in my front yard that he had a twin that was on TV as well, or in movies as well. And so I was like, I felt bad that, I felt like I had offended the guy because I didn't know he had a brother, twin brother. And so later when we were out partying, we were at Billy Bob's or whatever, and we were hanging out. I was like, hey, sorry about that. I didn't realize that you had a twin brother. And he was like, oh, that's cool, man. So he was really nice about it. But I mean, I was kind of embarrassed, I don't follow
shit.
Yeah.
Did you had mentioned Dazed and Confused? Was that it?
Yeah. No, I think we were out in my front yard doing something, and we were all there together, and somebody said something about him having a brother, and then I really didn't know that he had a twin brother that looked just like him and was also in acting and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was clueless. I was, stoned and clueless.
Stoned and clueless, the Michael Gardner story. So, so if they actually had access to the other London, they could have really fucked with you on the set.
Yeah. Like, bring in Jason, Jeremy.
Because you had you were in the main scenes with, again, see, I already forget, with Jeremy.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but you were in the scenes in the YouTube series with Jeremy and everything. So,
correct. And so a lot of times when they were shooting the other scenes for the other episodes, I was out hanging out with Jeremy. And we were just partying, and we just had a great time, getting to know each other. And I still, he still helps me out with auditions and stuff and
nice.
Stuff. He lives in, he lives in another state, but we can. He does this deal where he helps me kind of learn not really learn, but analyze an audition. And an audition for a big show or a big movie that you want to really represent yourself really well. So I like to get someone else who's also in the business or has been in the business as long as he has to kind of look at the audition and tell me what they think. And in the process, so I'll be on the phone with him for 15 or 30 minutes or so. And, I'll get his opinion on it and, some of the finer points that I might have missed in an audition. So it's been really good knowing him, since the movie.
Nice. I'm really happy that that's happened and, since we've been filming. So that makes me really happy.
Good.
That's come about.
And yeah. So, and now, besides Jason, this movie, like, it just is random. Or Jeremy. Wait a minute.
No, okay, the best way to put it, Jeremy, Mallrats. Jason, Dazed and Confused.
Right.
That's how I always put it.
So, Jason being in Dazed and Confused.
Correct.
And it just so happens to go with some of the other, because some of the best stoner-esque, I'll say for lack of argument on there were a lot of up-and-comers, as well as we've talked about with some of the other movies.
Yeah,
and
like
it
seems like these like weird, obscure, like films that didn't like fly off the launching pad that ended up being cult classics also contained like all of the next round of talent.
Right.
Like the entire, like, freaking Ben Affleck, like when he'd only done
he had done Mallrats.
He'd done stuff when he was like younger.
Like this is around
Ben
Mallrats
Affleck's been an actor since
I believe
he was
this was
School Ties time.
School Ties, this, and then I think Mallrats was after this.
Mallrats was before this
Was
because
it?
he left this and did Good Will Hunting and Chasing Amy.
No, Good Will
Right?
Hunting is not till 97.
Or Chasing
Amy is 96.
Yeah, Chasing Amy and Good Will
And
Hunting.
this is 95, 94-ish. And
Yeah.
Mallrats is 95. School Ties is about 93, 94.
Okay.
See, my timeline is horrible, so thank you.
You're welcome. That's why I'm here.
She's the nerd.
So Ben Affleck did. One of my favorites is Mila Jovovich.
Yeah. Did you know she married that guy that she is in a relationship on that movie set?
I heard about that.
So they get in the relationship on the set, and then they go to like Vegas and get elope. And she's at the time like 16 years old.
Yeah.
And she's 16 years old, and then her mom finds out, and she fucking's like, no, and all that shit. She's like underage, and the dude's like 21, 22.
Right.
And that was like her first marriage.
And then people like Parker Posey, who has done so many indie cult classics
Tons of
anyways.
movies,
Like
yeah.
she's definitely a modern like indie movie queen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she does a little bit more mainstream these days, but back in the majority of the 90s, even into the early 2000s, she did a lot of just like what would be considered cult movies or indie movies, just never hitting the mainstream until
Right.
I hate to say it like I mean I love the movie itself, but I mean Blade 3 was kind of what helped catapult her really into more mainstream type projects.
Wow.
I know she had done stuff, but
Blade 3 of all.
hey,
That's a
I
hard
mean,
pull there, dude.
and of course we talked about Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, this was like the total springboard for his whole career.
Right.
Yeah, and
Like-
he got it from getting drunk at a bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He went
Mike, you need to go
from
get drunk at a bar a lot.
yeah. We're trying to figure out all the things that these people did to like, springboard their career, and half of them seem really dumb, it's like
Right. And then, well, Joey Lauren Adams, of course, who we all know and love, but this is what she did this right before
You could almost say this is like what is John Hughes? Like this is the early Breakfast Club of the 90s. Like, cause you got the Joey Lauren Adams, you got the Ben Affleck, you got the the Parker Posey, the London Brothers. This is like an early 90s Breakfast
Very much
Club.
like
so.
a brat pack sort of thing,
yeah.
like
a
the
brat
next
pack.
gen brat pack,
Yeah, of the 90s.
Because it's like there weren't really that many, like famous kids that weren't like Disney Channel,
They
or any
came.
sort of
They
those
came.
sort of like
Those were
young
the
actors.
late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
That's when you get the Justin Timberlake and the Britney Spears. But these are
Right.
the ones of the dark
Yeah,
teen movies of the 90s
Yeah.
that came about.
Yeah, yeah.
Very much so. Personal favorite, Mike, on anything from these actors, characters?
I have to say that Matthew McConaughey, his character in the film was so small. So it was hard for me to really kind of, like him since the beginning. Like as soon as the movie came out, I saw it. And so, I think, I don't know. I'm just really
You're
Fair enough.
perfect. That's great for this episode.
That works. But
I was gonna say something about Matthew, but I lost track of what I was gonna say. But Matthew just kind of, everybody loves Matthew, so I don't want to pick him. But unfortunately, he's the standout in the film.
I was about to say,
he doesn't have a whole lot of scenes, but the scenes that he does, he just takes them over with his charisma and the way he talks and the way, he was literally just a spinning image of 1979 coming right into your face.
Mhm.
And,
Right.
and you can't help but notice it.
yeah,
Like he was the party like promoter. He was the guy who was like, oh, I heard that's busted up. Give me a couple minutes. And he drove around 2-3 times and he put that whole moon tower thing together.
He was supposed to be such a background character, but to me, he was the biggest breakout character
Oh, yeah.
of that
Yeah.
movie.
He really was, because he all of his lines were just, he was that cool guy. How much older than the actual kids in the high school, he was what, like 4 or 5 years older than them.
Yeah.
Probably not even that much based on what he was saying.
I read that some of the actors were
or-
actually older than Matthew at the time of filming.
Oh yeah, the actual actors, but the character wise, I think he was only supposed to be like out of high school himself a year or two, not even a whole lot. But yeah, he was the young guy besides the obviously way younger actors and stuff.
I get older and they
stay the same age. Oh man,
that's what I love about these high school girls.
More than a couple of years that he had graduated, because he's got this saying about the older I get, so it just seems like he's just so damn cool, and the kids in high school want to be like him so much, and I mean that's the epitome of character right there. When you're in high school, just that's what you look up to, that's what you emulate, and what you aspire to be. And he was just that guy instinctively, and there's nothing really you can point out specifically that he said that's I mean, it's all really cool, but it's just the way he said it.
Oh yeah.
The charisma.
It's not really about what he said, it's about how he said it.
Yeah.
That's typically true in movies and great actors, and somebody who was that early in his acting career,
still in school, like junior in college.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really amazing that he showed that kind of vision. That his charisma just literally just took over the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they probably had to cut some of the stuff that he did, because they couldn't have got it all. I mean, they couldn't have put all his stuff in the movie because they had time restrictions, obviously, and a story to stick to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Ari asked to do like more scenes with him in the first place, because it was like, it's a whole different setup to do it just where like Matthew drives around the, what is it, the Tip Top or whatever, that's the burger joint. Top notch.
No, oh yeah.
He drives around the burger joint, and he has that one conversation. He drives around another place, you know what I mean? It's like silently turned into like the party promoter guy. Like, I don't know. That such a great character. Yeah, party quarterback.
Yeah. There you go. Perfect.
Where won't open? Sorry. Same joke again.
So Mike also. Well, talking about bong hits, actually, that was going to be my similar to the next question I wanted to check with you. With this movie, obviously, we've all seen and we all enjoy this movie. So for you getting prepared to watch this movie, do you just light up that joint? Do you take that one bull or bong hit just to get you in the mode? And
I'm stoned all the time. So.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, do you have a special blend you prefer then? Shall I ask?
There's no seeds. I'm interested.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Nobody needs to lose an eye.
Very true.
Right.
And that's the way I feel about this. Is that type of movie is as much as I'm sure all of us have watched it combined is probably in the thousands and thousands. Just to you rip that one bong hit just as the opening credits come on, and you're maybe take another one about halfway through, and if it's the good enough shit, you're golden through this whole movie. Just to sit back, enjoy. It's definitely one of those movies.
So well written. Well, I mean, I have to give it up. Like the director knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was going after, and it was that feeling. So it's like from making mixtapes for every character to be like, no, your character, this is the kind of music in this era that your character is listening to. And it's like,
I heard about so did he make a specific tape for each one?
Yeah, he made a mixtape for each one of the actors that he wanted. Wow. And it's like, like he's the stoner guy, Slater, he was like, he wanted him to say the like 70s trope of like everybody just said, what's the thing? It's like, that's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. You just said, that's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying, man.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like after everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, he didn't even tell the actor to actually say that. He just kind of like put it out in the atmosphere, and he came back and was like, I think I'm going to say, you know what I'm saying? Like between like every line over. Because that was a thing. That was a thing that puts you right into that place.
Right. Yeah.
Like all the people that grew up then were like, yeah, everybody
and we really should give
it's
props
like
to
the word like is now. You know, everybody says like, you know.
And we really should give props to Richard Linklater, who did this as well, because Richard Linklater, besides I think just being a great filmmaker in general, he has hit some of these timelines. Like, I mean, granted, at the time, some of them were current, like, you know, Slacker and stuff like that. But for the way he was able to represent this variety of groups of people in all of his different movies, and especially Dazed and Confused, chef's kiss. I mean, it's beautiful. There you go.
Do you have a time machine to go back to 1979 and just kind of get a feel for what it was like to be in high school then, or was it because he was in high school then, or
whatever
it was, he got, you know, he was able to find that little niche, that
those tiny little specific little things, you know, it's like these weird little nichey things. Like he was like, when they were doing the baseball game or whatever, he vividly remembered, he was like, at the end of the game, they do the lineup and they go and everybody like, good game, good game, good game. And that was the thing, like through my childhood experience playing sports.
Same here, yeah.
Say, you did that. But he was like, they were behind on time, and like the producers were like giving him all kinds of shit about like, why are you shooting this? This is such a stupid like thing to shoot. But it's like, it put you right in that place. It puts you right. Like anybody who ever played sports like gets that, you know.
Yeah.
You know. You get the one guy being an asshole, being like, fuck you, you suck, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody's like, good game.
Carl was the kid's name in the movie. I remember that the blonde kid who he was just, you always had that one kind of jerkish friend.
Well,
and that was Carl.
The long hair was Mitch.
Well, Mitch
was the main character.
Mitch, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I don't know why you guys still haven't discussed the soundtrack.
Yeah,
like,
this is
that's what puts you in that place.
Crazy.
Like every time when we rewatched it, Casey was like, "Oh my god, it has that song! Oh my god, it has this song! This song!
Go on Spotify."
Huh? I'm sorry.
Low budget movie. It's got some really great sound.
They spent
all
of their money on it.
On
they had to have.
Yeah.
Because it's like everybody.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. Like I would listen to that soundtrack. Like those, it's like, it's got Cherry Bomb. It's got Alice Cooper. It's got everybody that was popular then.
I can't think of that movie without hearing Free Ride and Sweet Emotion.
Yeah,
those two
Sweet
songs,
Emotion.
like that
going to
is
get
that
Aerosmith
movie.
tickets.
Low Rider
No,
during
Low
one
Rider is the Cheech and Chong song. I'm sorry. That's like.
But it worked because they gave a great overview of where you see the scene of just all the cars at the time, all the rat rods and stuff.
I'll give you that.
It was, and now granted, rat rods aren't low riders, but it gave you that feel of the car people. Yeah.
You bet.
Yeah.
It did. And it had to be somewhat expensive.
It was a third of the budget. I read it was like a third of the like a big chunk of the budget went to that soundtrack.
Just the soundtrack.
Yeah.
But it's a banger. It is it moves. It moves awesome. It keeps you in that place.
Well,
like
the majority of the movie too is them just driving around getting high. So what else do you do except for listen to the music on your 8-track tape?
Right. Or check you later, man. Check you later.
Yeah.
You know.
So it has to. It has to have good music. You know?
Very true. Very true. So
it would be weird to just sit here in the parking lot and smoke weed. We have to drive around.
Yeah. Well, that was only part of the night.
Because you don't get
That's
busted.
what I
You know
did
what I mean?
in my little itty bitty town. Like,
that's because you guys had nowhere to drive to.
Yeah.
We were surrounded by 3 national parks. Thank you. So at least huh?
Yeah, that's what you did, Becky. But I guarantee you had the radio on.
Oh yes. Oh
that's true.
It's very true. Yeah.
So, needless to say, I mean, I think we've hit on the high point of this movie. A great movie, I think, either way. I still believe that it is a stoner movie because that's basically the biggest chunk in the movie. You guys did not change my mind. Look at Becky giving me the evil eye.
I'm like, see, I'm beginning to see you guys' perspective that it's not just, you know, like it's way more about like being transported like, you know, time machine style back into the late 70s.
And what's the best way to be time ported than with weed.
Well, it's
to
just
think about those great
it's
times.
just there when you show up, man.
Yeah.
The name of the movie itself, Dazed and Confused. I mean, that's Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, that's a Zeppelin reference. That you know.
That's the party. That's the party scene right there. You know, Led Zeppelin, and that's enough for me to go.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I need a movie to get me, pay a ticket and go.
Yeah, and the studio was not behind this movie either. Like upon release,
right?
Like,
that seems to be all the movies that we're
every
covering.
movie that we were talking about. It's like when it comes to marketing or when it comes to like the final the end part of making a movie, of like getting it out to the people.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't do a very good job. Like Ben Affleck has a story about like he was walking through Hollywood, like just walking around or whatever, and some dude comes up and hands him a flyer and is like, "Hey, you want to come see a movie?" Because it's like, trying to find test audience or whatever. And he was like, "Yeah, what's the movie about?" And the flyer was like, "Oh no, it's some like teen movie where they like get drunk and fucking you see boobs or something," and it's like not. And Ben Affleck goes, "Well, what is it called?" And he goes, "Dazed and Confused." And he's like, "What?" Like he got pitched the movie that he's in, and had no idea like where it was.
Go?
Yeah, well, I don't remember that part. I don't think that part of the story was told. Yeah.
I'd be like down there in the front. Is this a great movie?
Stand
Check
up,
this guy out. This guy up here is awesome.
Well, that also brings it back to while we're also doing this limited series here as well. With you, Mike, being such, from what I've been told, you've been with helping Becky do the series. We're gearing up towards the movie project and everything. How was it like on the set for you guys? To get this built up, what was, after the project and how things were? Obviously, I would assume between you two, smooth as can be, but what's some of the fun? Oh, there he goes.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, exactly.
Don't mind if I do.
Done and done, sir.
Tell us all the dirty stories you have to say about the DTF stories.
Yeah. How was the DTF set?
The DTF set was typical of a mini series or a short film or a small production. It was very, very much. I mean, what I'm trying to say is it was very normal. It was just like. Other than the fact that it was in my house.
Yeah, shot in Michael's house.
Michael was very gracious for
He had a very
us
short commute to work one day,
Yeah.
Literally, Becky knocking on my front door. I'm like, hang on.
Let me put my shorts on, please.
I'm still doing my wake and bake. Hold on.
Right. Yeah, but no, it was really special in that respect, but also because when London got here and he had a buddy with him and we started rolling on our scenes or whatever. It was really just like any other film set that I've ever been on. It was just like normal for me. But at the same time, that means that it was good. It was good. I liked it. I got to literally roll out of bed and start shooting some scenes. I mean, how much better could it get?
Wish every project could be like that, right?
Right.
I mean,
just not in your house, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want that happening 24/7.
It's funny that you say that because there are more and more productions being shot now because of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I have a production coming up where it's a black and white production and it's made to look like the 50s and 60s comedy series, black and white, and it's got some old script to it, but it's really interesting because they're going to shoot it. All my scenes they're going to shoot at my house. They're going to come to my house. I've got a studio here, and they go, well, they're just going to throw up a green screen, and we're going to shoot my scenes right here in my house, and they're going to pay me for it, and then and it's going to be my whole production part of the film or the series is going to be green screen right here in my house. I mean, and that's becoming more and more popular, especially nowadays, and especially the audition part of acting has really very much become part of your ability to shoot something at your house, or I literally have 2 auditions I need to shoot after we're done here, and they're both just they're both for something I would never ever audition for live like 2 years ago. A live commercial audition 2 years ago was the norm, or a year ago it was the norm. You would never send a self-tape for a commercial audition. It's just unheard of. But now it's part of the norm. So there's a lot of things that are gonna change, and the industry's changing really fast because of COVID. I mean, there's a lot of productions. I've been on a few productions the last week or so that they're very strict about that. I mean, there's new jobs that have to be taken care of, because you're going to have
way less people.
But also more people hired on payroll, because you're going to have to enforce these rules where everybody wears this and that. I don't really care. I've been vaccinated, but every production that I've been on since then, they're basically saying if you're not vaccinated, don't even bother submitting for it, because it's especially if it's a big production, or a TV show, a SAG production, or a film, something like that. They're gonna they put on almost all the auditions I see nowadays are, if you haven't gotten a COVID shot, then don't even bother auditioning.
Okay. Yeah, that's something we definitely have to put into our budgets and things like that now. It is.
Yeah, they want to know what date I was vaccinated, and then when I get to set, they're going to want to test me right away, and so there's a lot of extra work there that wasn't there before. So that's extra jobs, but that's extra money out of the budget as well. So it's going to be goods and bads because of it.
Sure.
But
of course,
be interesting going forward.
Yeah.
I've met some really cute girls that are working the COVID.
There you go. One way to increase the dating game.
Right. No, it's not unusual for me to just like last week. I worked on a couple commercials, and I had to go down a day or two before to get a shot, and so I went down to this place near downtown Fort Worth, because it was kind of a mutual spot between me and production. The production was in Dallas, so they didn't want to make me drive too far. So they just had me meet this girl in Fort Worth. So I literally, pulled over. She pulled over next to me. I got out, and she pulled out the needle and the napkin thing or whatever, and just literally shoved it in my arm, got my stuff, and we were like done in 2 seconds and gone. It was like, wow, that was
that's so random.
Like, man, I've done some drug runs before, but
ridiculous.
That's awesome. So,
and they'll go out of your way, and it's amazing what the different rules they're having to come up with now to just to keep everybody happy. But I'm glad they are, because safe, and I don't necessarily have an opinion of about the whole vaccination deal. I just want to do whatever it is that I need to do to be in the industry.
Absolutely.
If that vaccination is going to kill me in 2 years, then I'll be part of that. But it's just weird. I don't want to be anyone who has really much to say about things that I don't know about.
Just be safe and be able to do what you want to do. Like,
right.
You're in the industry. You're continuing to work. So.
That's good. Stay healthy.
Yeah.
There's a strong immune system, so I ain't really worried anyway. So I'm not really even worried about getting sick. I mean, my step, it's amazing how many people that I know. I've been pretty close to people that have had it and survived, and there's some people that I know that got it real quick and died. And there's one guy here just a couple weeks ago, one of our actor friends here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He literally. Within a week, he was just gone.
Wow.
And he seemed like a healthy guy, and you just never know.
It's true.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Now, to end the episode, no. But Mike, thanks. No, we appreciate that. It sounds like you're staying busy right there until you and Becky get a chance to get together to work on the big project. For DC, It's
called The Blunt Truth. The feature, The Blunt Truth.
The blunt. Yes. There's so much. I'm just saying the big feature. That's what she said. The big feature. Okay, yeah. But you're staying busy. Is there the show? The show. Is there any title or anything you can give us what to look out for what you've been working on?
Yeah. Do you have anything coming out soon?
That you could talk about at least. Obviously, yeah.
Not really. I mean, whenever I have an audition for something, for instance, I literally couldn't tell you what I auditioned for last week or the week before that, because in order to stay sane in this business as an actor, you have to constantly be looking forward. Right. So there's projects that I've had some really great auditions. I had an audition for 4 episodes in a series on HBO that that I cannot mention, but it's just I've got a couple of auditions that I have to shoot out after this, and so it's Dallas Fort Worth, the market is it's probably not the most busy, obviously, but Texas is getting busier, and I've got some family issues that keep me here for another little while, but in that respect, I could very easily next year be moving to Atlanta or or LA.
Well, you'd be closer to us. Atlanta. You'd be closer to us in Atlanta too. Right. So
that's a little 8-hour hop, skipping a jump.
California. I've always said that I will only go to California when someone pays me to go, and they pay for my trip.
Same.
Otherwise, fair. I mean, the industry is changing so much. Yeah. I mean, the industry, it's getting physically smaller. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I can damn near shoot a freaking feature film on my cell phone now. Yeah. You got iPhone 13, you can make a freaking movie.
That's what we're shooting our podcast on.
We've got like phones in here.
We have 5 phones set up.
Needless to say, Mike, first off, we're glad that you're staying busy, especially during these times. I can only imagine how difficult it is on that end. But obviously, between the great works that you and Becky did for DTF, but with the Blunt Truth coming up, hopefully we're going to be seeing you more physically. Absolutely. We won't have to be doing the Zoom stuff. But definitely when the big project kicks off here, we'll definitely get some more work in, seeing all the rest of the cast and crew and everything, and definitely be going as soon as...
Bringing you up here, motherfucker.
Yeah. I need to put it on my schedule right away. But you'll definitely be seeing me in some other stuff as well. I can't say that. I've just been really lucky. I mean, with a face like this, what do you do?
Keep those eyes peeled.
Because you're talented. Yeah. That's why.
True.
You're amazing.
True. Because you're a nice and genuine and hilarious person. If you want to see this man being hilarious, go to the bloopers stuff that's on
the Dick Bong. You're the famous Dick
Barn thing.
Yep.
That was like...
Casey still watches that. He
loves
it.
I laughed. Good. That was like one of the things that I was like, I laughed out loud hard. And I was like, that guy is fucking hilarious.
He was like, I have to meet him.
Right.
So deadpan. What's a Dick Barn? Like that fucking mug. It was fucking great. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. It was awesome having you today, Michael.
I was about to say a big thank you. Appreciate taking your time today for this, man.
Yeah, awesome finally getting to talk to you, meet you after hearing lots of stories from Becky.
Absolutely.
And that kind of stuff.
I'm sure she's been talking crap about me the whole time.
No,
absolutely not.
Nothing but
we like you
things.
more than we like her.
Oh,
so that's
shut up.
Yeah, of course it does. But any final words for Dazed Confused or any of the listeners, viewers for the limited series at this point? Or
really like Dazed Confused. I think if we could push forward with that, no matter what, it's got such a wide crowd. I mean, when you make a film, you throw a net and you try to encompass as many people as you can in that net. Because that's what box office is. And so I think the net potential quote unquote, is really, really good.
Right.
And just be made, man. It needs to be made.
It needs to be made.
Yeah.
So with the blunt truth, we're throwing. What was that? I'm sorry.
It's a story that needs to be told.
Yes.
Girls
Yes.
need. It's just come on. Let's do this. Let's talk. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And the girls that I know that smoke weed, they're still a little kind of more secretive about it than they should, because they're I don't know.
There's a false expectation for like girls to, like the girl can't be the stoner. A girl can totally be a stoner. Like it can absolutely happen.
Right. And if you ask me what kind of woman or what kind of girl that I like, I'll tell you that I like stoners.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We always get along really well.
Oh, yeah.
Good deal.
Yeah.
But Mike, thank you again for joining us. And guys, take that bong rip. Thank you for joining us on the Dazed Confused. This is The Blunt Truth presents Seeing Stoned. See you next time.